I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. On the Senate floor Thursday, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell decried protests outside the homes of Supreme Court justices. Demonstrators are upset by a leaked draft decision memo that indicates the High Court could overturn Roe v. Wade. McConnell called out both Senator Chuck Schumer and the Biden administration for not condemning these protests. Here's more from the Kentucky Republican.
Madam President,
The Republican leader.
I ask consent that further proceedings on the quorum call be dispensed with.
Without objection.
For months, the brave people of Ukraine have been fighting valiantly in a war they did not ask for. Their defense of their homeland from the Russian invasion has already far surpassed the expectations of all the skeptics. Ukraine is not asking anybody else to do their fighting for them. They ask only for the resources they need to defend themselves against this lawless aggression. I strongly support the next package of lethal military assistance, which the House has passed with an overwhelming bipartisan majority. I hope the Senate can reach an agreement to consider and pass this legislation today. The Ukrainians need it. We need to do it today. Helping Ukraine is not an instance of mere philanthropy. It bears directly on America's national security and vital interests that Russia's naked aggression not succeed, and carries significant costs. If Ukraine fails to repel Russian aggression, there's no question that the threat to America and European security will actually grow. Our nation's history is packed with painful reminders that America cannot wish away global problems that affect us and our allies simply by burying our head in the sand. I applaud the strong Republican vote for this crucial assistance over in the House and urge my Senate colleagues on both sides to help us pass this urgent funding bill today. Now, in another matter, 2 years ago, the Democratic leader addressed a crowd on the steps of the Supreme Court and threatened justices if they didn't rule the way he wanted. Now, far-left crowds are surrounding justices' private family homes. They want to use intimidation to influence the outcome in a pending case. This should be easy for leaders to condemn. All Americans should agree that judges and juries ought not to be subjected to threats or intimidation campaigns. And admirably, some on the political left have spoken out against this fringe element. The Washington Post editorial board has condemned this. The number 2 Senate Democrat, our colleague from Illinois, said, "I think it's reprehensible. Stay away from homes and families." His counterpart across the Capitol, the number 2 House Democrat, Leader Hoyer, said, quote, "We need to protect Supreme Court justices and their families, period. We're a nation of laws, not of violence, not of intimidation, laws." That was Steny Hoyer. But Leader Schumer and the White House will not follow suit. They won't condemn the harassment. They've basically endorsed it. And top Democrats are standing in the way of concrete action. A few days ago, the Senate unanimously passed legislation to give the Supreme Court's in-house police force some additional authorities they need to do their jobs. This isn't controversial stuff. It cleared this chamber unanimously. But House Democrats have been unwilling to promptly pass it. Congressman Jeffries suggested yesterday this uncontroversial bill might be shunted into a lengthy committee process. Why in the world would that be done? These are essentially clerical fixes. They breeze through the Senate without objection. But House Democratic leadership wants to drag this out, hearings and markups, while mobs assemble at people's houses. I hope this is some misunderstanding. I hope Democrats are not intentionally stalling these security measures until after the court has issued its rulings. This would be reprehensible. At the end of Pennsylvania Avenue, either President Biden or Attorney General Garland has apparently decided not to enforce federal law. Like I explained on Monday, Section 1507 of the Criminal Code makes it a crime right now to picket or parade with the intent of influencing a judge at locations that include a judge's residence. That's the law right now. People have been doing exactly that for days and days right now. But the Garland Justice Department is nowhere in sight. One would think a DOJ run by the former chief judge of the D.C. Circuit would need no prodding to protect judicial safety and judicial independence. But at least so far, the Attorney General was quicker to pounce on concerned parents at school board meetings. The governors of Maryland and Virginia have had to write a joint letter to the Attorney General begging him to make his U.S. attorneys do their job and uphold the law. So yesterday, I sent the DOJ my own letter asking the very same question. The Senate needs answers right now, and the court needs security right now. So on a related matter, yesterday we observed the beginning of ceremonies honoring National Police Week. Soon we will mark Peace Officers Memorial Day. Tens of thousands of law enforcement personnel from across the country will gather here in our nation's capital to honor the service and the sacrifice of their fallen brothers and sisters. I'd like to extend a warm welcome to the Kentuckians who've traveled here for the ceremonies. I'm meeting with several of these law enforcement leaders this week to express my gratitude for their service. The Commonwealth is home to every type of law enforcement officer you can imagine, from big city beat cops to small town sheriffs. They take a great risk every day to protect and to serve. So this week I'm thinking especially about the law enforcement officers Kentucky lost in the past year, whose names will be added to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial tomorrow. Heroes like Graves County Deputy Jailer Robert T. Daniel, who sacrificed his own life to save endangered inmates as a tornado bore down on their workplace in which he was employed. Community pillars like Jefferson County Deputy Sheriff Brandon Shirley, who was shot and killed while working a second job in his uniform. Role models like Louisville police officer Zachary Cottingen, who was struck and killed by a car while attending to an abandoned vehicle on the side of the road. Yesterday, I met with Officer Cottingen's widow and former partner who are here in Washington for tomorrow's memorial. We're all praying for them as they mourn this tragic loss. I'm proud to co-sponsor the resolution that officially designated National Police Week this year. America's law enforcement personnel are always there when we need them most. The least Congress can do is have their backs. Now, on one final matter, parents across the country are struggling to get their hands on the infant formula their babies need. Here are just a few of the letters I've received from parents and grandparents in my state. Quote, "We've been struggling to get formula for our granddaughter for months now. The situation has turned dire." Quote, "My 6-year-old Ezekiel has had to switch what he needs twice since his birth due to the shortages." Another quote, "We traveled from Lexington through West Virginia and Virginia into Washington, D.C., but every place we stopped had empty shelves of baby formula. This outrageous, unacceptable situation has been unfolding in slow motion over several months. Much of it stems from a recall that resulted in a plant being shut down. But it seems that while President Biden's administration and the FDA knew all about this problem as it developed, they have been asleep at the switch in terms of getting production back online as fast as possible. Both Republican and Democratic senators have asked the White House and FDA for answers and gotten very few. The administration has got to be more proactive and forward-leaning. But yesterday, I understand that a White House spokeswoman wasn't even sure if they had a point person for this problem, or if they had such a person, who it might be. Even before the acute shortages, soaring costs were already squeezing families. The inflation figures show the price of baby food has skyrocketed 13% in just 12 months. Overall food inflation is 9.4% year over year. That's the worst year for food inflation in 41 years. It should not be this hard for Americans to feed their families. Parents need President Biden and his team to step up to the plate.